I got a feeling that you got me covered too. I got you covered. I got you covered.
Everybody, how is everybody doing tonight? I cannot believe that we are in day 10. I am just sitting here going, where did the time go? Why is it telling me that? Oh. I just don't know where it's gone. It's like, whew, it went. It has gone so quickly, and I'm like, okay. Busy. It's been busy. I think because we've just had a lot of stuff to do. We're going to get the bean recipe done tomorrow, and we will put that up this weekend. That is a great last minute gift. If you are looking for something, you can go to the store, pick that up, put it together very quickly. We will have the PDF available for download for a couple dollars. And we will go ahead and put that on our merch store. We will have two different things. We'll have one that will say Christmas Connection Soup, one that will have no title, and then one with another title. And then we will have two separate things. We'll have one that will say, one with the recipe, one for you to give with the recipe. If you want to give everybody all the beans that are included in it, you can. You don't have to. But that way you can give them the recipe list with all the beans, or you can just not and then be able to give it next year. So it's up to you how you want to do it. But this way, for the people that want to do their own, they can. I will put all of the recipe and the beans in the description. Those that just say, I'm busy, I don't want to have to do any of that, I want something that looks nice to add to the soup thing when I give it as a gift, then it's there for you to download just to make it easy. So just as a way to kind of make it easy for everybody to have access to that. So that's just something we want to offer everybody. On Friday night at 7 p.m., we're going to have an auction. I put it up for it. We're going to move our live to, I think I said 1 o'clock. I think it was 1 or 2 o'clock, somewhere around there, on Sunday or on Friday, because I don't want to do Christmas Connection with the auction thing. But if you guys are looking for last minute gifts, let's see, what date will it be? It will be the 14th or the 13th. We will go ahead and get everything in the mail that is done that night, as long as it's paid within the 24 hours. As long as it's paid that night, we'll go ahead and get everything in the mail. As long as it's going to be United States only, and unless it's Canada, I'll figure out the shipping. The shipping may be, if you choose to purchase it, then I may make the shipping between you and I, and we'll go from there. And this way, if you're looking for last minute gifts, we can get in the mail on Saturday and get it to you. So we'll do it priority mail and get it to you within plenty of time for Christmas. So looking for those last minute shopping gifts, we just want to offer that. And then whatever we have is going to go into the merch store. And I'm thinking, not totally deciding if I'm going to do it yet, but I may end up doing a merch store on what is it, on Shopify separate. I don't know if I'm going to do that here. We did trying to think what it was last night. We did the Advent together, and it was such a really neat thing to do. And I thought it was really kind of neat to do one. And she says she'll do another one with us. And then I was thinking of doing one with her for can't think what it is now, for uh I am back. My computer didn't want to work either today. I think I'm back. I think I'm back. Yep, I'm back. I think my computer. I'm doing the best I can with what we have. And I have an idea, and I need to talk with my son-in-law about it, and because he's the computer expert of the family, and so once I talk to him. Hi, Jamaica. How are you? Once I talk to him about it, about my idea, I'm going to talk to him and see if he thinks that would be a worthy thing to do. I found like a refurbished computer on, well, thank you for stopping in. A refurbished computer that I could just have that's like on, on eBay for like $50. Just the nuts and bolts of the computer, right? And just using that for nothing else. Hi, Sandy. Nothing else, but just absolutely nothing else, but just being able to do what this thing. just to be able to hook up to the thing, have nothing else on it but just the internet, and seeing if that will stop this from happening, and let this one do whatever it wants to do. So, but I have to talk to him and see. I mean, it would maybe be a worthy thing to do for a little bit until we can invest in a new computer and have him build it. But we'll see. We will see if it's something he thinks is. I'm not going to do it if he thinks it's not the greatest idea, but he's the computer one, right? he's the computer one of the family. So, hi Jackie. I hope I said that right. So, anyway, we'll see. We shall see. Hope everybody else is doing well. I have just taken today and done hardly anything, and it has felt wonderful. I thought I need to do the Advent thing, which when I get off here, I'll record that and I'll do that. And I thought I need to do that. And other than that, and I have some connecting cakes to crochet, which I will. I'm watching a Christmas movie. I've taken a nap, and it's the first day that it was like I really didn't have anything pressing. We didn't have any videos to do and record, and it wasn't like, I mean, there was things I could have done, but I was like, I have to self-care for myself today. I'm really tired. I'm not hurting as bad as I was the past couple of days, which is a sign to my body that says, wait a minute, you've pushed way too hard. So I kind of chose to take it easy, and we did a therapist call, and we're starting to do the therapist call from the computer or from the phone, which is actually really easy. But I thought I'll bring my tea and I survived my daughter's wedding cup, and isn't that dang on true? It was true. And I have Christina's and Jared's name on the back of it. So I finally got her calendar done. Next year, what I'm going to do is, and I keep saying it because it's hard to do with the calendar, because I want to wait all year till she puts pictures up on Facebook. Because now that, I usually glean all the pictures off of the activities she's kind of done through Facebook. Thank God she posts a lot of pictures that I can do from. But I thought next year, what I'm going to do is go in, choose a calendar a couple months in advance, probably even like in June or something. And then I will go ahead and put that in there, and go ahead and put that in the system. And then the longest part of that entire thing was going through and having to put the transitions over the birthday things so you can read them. And then I pick a goofy date. Like I picked one date that said men make dinner day, which I can't remember what day that was. And so I pick all these crazy days. Well, they'll probably be there in, the calendar. Hi, Joy-filled. How are you? So I thought I'll probably go ahead and pick the calendar, pick all the birthdays up, go ahead and get that all ready to go. And then the only thing that I really have to do at the last minute towards the end is put the pictures in the top part of it, add any other birthdays that anybody else has added, or people that have gotten married or what have you, add people and that kind of stuff. But I don't have to go through like I did. I mean, I was like, I've got to finish this calendar, and I'm glad I did, because as it is, it's going to get here between the 18th and the 19th, and when it arrives, I'll show you all. The 18th through the 19th is when it will go ahead and arrive. And I'm really glad that I didn't wait, and I paid an extra $1 to make sure that it was going to arrive between the 18th and 19th, because it's one of the gifts that if it's not underneath the tree, she's going to be disappointed. She looks forward to that gift under the tree. Guys, if you haven't had Tam Tams before, I blame my sister. from another mother over in Australia for turning me on to these things. I have one with my tea every day. And we get them from a Sam's Club. And they're about 100 calories for one little packet. So I don't feel like I'm cheating. What is a Tam Tam? You've never had a Tam Tam? Oh my gosh. They are so good. Apparently they come in other flavors. But the original ones are these. This is what they are. They're Tam Tams. And they are chocolate. They are chocolate cookies. And inside, can you see this? Inside is like more chocolate. So good. Like I said to everybody, I am doing an auction for anybody interested that needs the last minute Christmas gifts. I have paint pour necklaces. I have some paint pour earrings. I have some other things available. So if you guys are looking for last minute Christmas gifts, Friday at 7, we're going to do a little bit of an auction. And then that way I can get everything mailed out, that as long as everybody will just have it paid through Venmo, not Super Chats, because YouTube takes their 30%. And then that way we can go ahead and, get them in the mail the next day to everybody, and they should get to you all in time. We're going to make it United States only. But like this one is Christina's for her Christmas, if I can pull it up. I have some of these left. These are already taken. Sorry, guys. These are one of the earrings we did. And I have more earrings. Aren't they beautiful? So we've got more. Those are already taken. Sorry. Those ones cannot be given up. I don't know which one this one is. Well, this one isn't it, but this is one, and this is already taken too. But these are they're dream catchers. And I sold them at the craft show we did for $15. But I will start them off here when we do it for like $8. So if you guys are looking for extra gifts, they'll be here. And that one's already taken. This one's Christina's. And I have several other ones. I've got some Christmas ones. Oh, Janine, I've got to give you a channel to go to. That you're in the chat. There's a new channel I found. Let me see if I can remember it. The guy is great. He's over in the United. Maybe you're already familiar with it. But we're going to be doing that on Friday night. If anybody's looking for those last minute. Let me see if I can find the channel. Because oh, here it is. He's really he's a really great guy, and actually was gifted a membership. And it's a new channel that I have gone with. And I'm going to be reaching out to him. And he said that, because I said next year, I said, I know that it may not be for everybody, but this girl's an Elvis fan. And I really do believe that we can glean a lot from Elvis's life, Elvis's history, and learning a lot about him. And so we're going to do some Elvis content next year. I know, like I said, it's not going to be for everybody. I think his life is fascinating. And I'm going to say this now. And I may get some people that go, oh, I can't believe this. I really do believe that we can explore both the wonderful things about Elvis and things that were not so good. He was trying to be comfortable in his own skin. He would have loved to be looked at as just Elvis. Nothing more, nothing less. I know to a lot of people, it's just a guy in a jumpsuit. But if you explore his life, very fascinating individual, extremely intelligent man, but struggled with things just like you and I do. And I think that we can look at his life. And one of the things that I've kind of said, if we look at it, is I really do believe that he was for sure ADHD. Yep, ADHD. I think absolutely without a doubt he had that. I think also that, and it saddens me because mental illness is not taken and was taken very differently back then than it is now. It is coming into a different frame now than it was back then. But I'm going to say this. I do believe that because I had a grandmother who had bipolar, um, and she had a mother who died very young, I do believe that, and there's research behind it that shows that things like bipolar come along in sometimes with a tragic situation. If you have maybe the underlying thing, it can creep up when something tragic happens. Well, Elvis had a very tragic thing happen when his mother died. That was like life changing for him. He was never the same after that. And I do believe that there is some evidence to the fact that he probably had bipolar. And I think that he had and all that bipolar breaks down to, guys, is chemical imbalance. It's all it is. It is just means that the chemicals within your brain are off, and the medicine we have today versus the medicine we had even in the 80s when my grandmother had it and wasn't diagnosed properly and didn't have the proper medicine to fix the imbalance correctly. I do believe that he may have had it and been trying to do with the medication he was taking, balance himself out. And I think it's worth it to look at it from a time period of, have we really grown in our awareness and how we look at people with disabilities or mental illnesses? And how do we look at things like that? And looking at it from that perspective. I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose anybody, and I'm not going to try to, but there are some things, if you deep dive into his life, that you could say there's a possibility that he could have had. And he was trying to do what everybody else is trying to do, just trying to be comfortable in our own skin. He always thought, and I think that we do the same thing. Are we ever good enough? He'd get off a total amphitheater, all sold out, and he'd get in the car with his guys and say, "Did I do okay? You just had a sold out audience. They were all applauding. You could have been up there for 10 hours and they still would have applauded." But he's getting in the car asking his guys, "Did I do okay?" And I think in life, we kind of do the same thing. So I think doing some Elvis content is worth people to look at it and learn from it. Elvis would want us to learn from it. He was an extremely avid reader. He loved getting and reading books and gaining knowledge and talking to people. Very intelligent man. He wasn't just a guy on a stage in a jumpsuit, and that's how people look at him. And we can change that perspective and realize that not only we have to understand that the guys that surround him all looked at life and looked at the situation they were going through with him in different eyes. And so you hear different stories and conflicts, and this guy thought this, and this guy saw this, and and the movie years, we can look at that because there were times where he was roped into, yes, they was roped into these movie contracts and this life of having to do these movie things that did not show his full potential. People would say he didn't even have to talk, and he could walk into a room and everybody knew that Elvis had entered the room. Everybody. ADHD. Move my tea so I don't spill it, guys. ADHD is hyperactivity, and my brother has calm ADHD. Granted, when Gladys died, but he also was able to lift up others. He is always a happy soul. Elvis was definitely not bipolar. Anything, it was his manager. Well, and I respect your opinion. And the only thing that I would say to that is what I want to do with what I have learned from him, and believe me, Colonel Parker, we can go in a whole deep dive on him. But what I want to do with that, and what I just said, okay, is I want to be able to take the facts of what somebody with bipolar has, okay, and what stories I have heard about what Elvis did, and see if there may be a coordination between it. All that bipolar means is that there is a chemical imbalance within the brain. And sometimes bipolar does not come about without a tragic situation. Now, I would say this. If I did something like that, I would probably bring on Kim from My Other's Keeper because she lives with it. She manages it. She has bipolar. And she could probably help us kind of understand that and navigate that a little bit. I'm not a doctor, so I cannot diagnose, nor would I do that. But I think that some of the signs could point you in that direction if we look at it from the manner that it does. And understand that when his mother died, he had tremendous depression. And you know, if he was given one of the pills in the army and had an addictive personality, it wasn't hard to lean into just that. It takes sometimes for somebody that has an addictive nature, it takes one thing. Parker went to Vegas and blew millions and millions. Oh, absolutely. I totally agree with you. On RC, sold his record label RCA, and then he contracted Elvis into doing more movies, 30 plus movies. Yes. And I don't want to start rumors about Elvis, and I want to be able to hold him with the respect that he deserves and Gladys deserves. It's not that. What I feel is that if it is something that possibility could have been a possibility, because he had some other health issues. He had glaucoma, he had diabetes and all that. That's all recorded. If it is something that he did have, or even was something that could have been a possibility, if the right medication could have been available at the time, he could have maybe still been with us. Because he was taking medication in excess to help himself do this and do that and do this and do that. And so, hey, Kristen, how are you? I don't want to start rumors, but I don't think there's anything wrong with saying there is a possibility he could have been struggling with. Oh, give him Give him a hug when he gets out of the bathtub. He could have been struggling. And my point of doing that is not, I just, Joyful, I want you to know, it's not to disgrace Elvis. I have nothing but respect for the man. I am a true Elvis fan through and through. And I am not going to take anybody, making any jokes or bashing him in any way, shape, or form. Absolutely not. I want to take a look of him. I want to do a very deep dive into how many times he gave people things because he just loved to give. The humble heart this man had, never forgetting where he came from. I don't ever, ever want to disgrace. Ever. And I hope, yes. Can't comment on here, Elvis. There is no one to hold a candle to him, and God has a co-pilot. I agree with you. But and nobody can hold a candle to Elvis. There's no superstar that has come close to it. One thing I will never say is this. Elvis was called the king of rock and roll, but you'll never hear me call him the king of rock and roll. He did not like that title. He said in a concert, I appreciate that. I cannot accept that kingship. It is something that it's already taken. I cannot accept it. I appreciate that, but that's something I cannot accept. He's a legend. He is something that, as far as I'm concerned, hi Moan, how are you, hon? Look what I'm having. I gotta show her. Do you not see what I found in Sam's Club? And they're melting. I don't know if I can show you. Can you not see? You can probably guess what it is. Yes, you've made me an addict to these. I have to have one with my tea now at the afternoon. And it's melting. Give me a minute. I fell onto it. It's melting. They have a big box at Sam's Club. And so we get them from Sam's Club now and have them. But this one got melted. Give me a minute. I made a mess. But guys, if you haven't had Sam Ham, they're so good. So good. So good. Anyway, you must have known. Every time I have my tea, I think of you because I have a Tam Tam. Yeah. And as long as you're having it on a live, there's no calories. I love it. I think that's great. Yes, he was extremely a humble guy. I would agree with that 100%. His manager served Elvis well at the very beginning. He got him out there, but I think he needed to release from Colonel Parker, and we can look at all that. But I think it's important, and the reason why I keep going back to Elvis was trying to be comfortable in his own skin is because that's what we're all doing. We're all trying to just fit in, be comfortable in our own skin. We can agree to disagree on some things with Elvis. There are going to be people that say that he didn't have bipolar. I have a suspicion when you look at some of his behaviors, there's a possibility that he could have had it. And all that it means is that the chemicals within your brain has Yes, it was his second manager because Sam Phillips was the first. It just means that the chemicals are not sitting there correctly, and you just need to have a little bit of a chemical adjustment. That's all it is. But back then, if it was something that he did deal with, we will never know, right? We'll never know if it's anything that he dealt with. I think he dealt with depression, especially after his mother died. But if you came back taking anything back in the 50s, the 60s, or the 70s that came back with anything like that, it was a death sentence as far as a career. I don't think that would have been the case with Elvis. His fans were very different than any other fans around there. I think Elvis, and I know he's in heaven. I think he's singing amongst the angels. Um, and that's your opinion, joyfully, and I love you. You can have that opinion, and there are going to be fans that are going to say no, that that's not a possibility. But I still think that it's something to take a look at. We can't put Elvis, nor would Elvis want it. Because remember, there was an interview that he did, and he said, Elvis, he said, an image is one thing, a man is another. Nobody can live up to an image. Right? And I do believe that we can look at everything. We can put it in the air and say, yeah, there's a possibility. If anything, with looking at some of Elvis's behaviors, that some of the people close to him, and he did certainly impact culture in a major way. If we look at some of his behaviors that Elvis did and look at some of the symptoms that bipolar tends to carry, if anything else, and it brings light to the fact that this is what bipolar is, and it's nothing else. There's nothing else. There, there, if nothing else, it sheds light on the fact that if somebody is struggling with a mental illness, whatever it may be, let's help. There's help out there. If it's people are going through the thing when we do it and say, oh, yeah, I've got that. No, well, I've got that. And they go and they get treated for something, whatever it may be, and they feel better and they're living a better life mentally and they're in a better place, then wonderful. But I want to do anything. Let me straight this right now. Any Elvis content we do on this channel will be nothing else but respectful and dignified. There is no other way I'm going to roll with it. Because I can still do it. I can still talk about my grandmother, as I still loved my grandmother. But she had a mental illness that was not treated properly. And she could be as nice and sweet and wonderful. And then I remember we were in her house one day and I just knocked over her iced tea. And you would have thought that I had committed whatever it was. I mean, an atrocity beyond measure. Because the woman exploded over a cup of tea spilling all over her coffee table. I was called an idiot. I was called stupid. I was called every name in the book. She lost her temper. And then she came back and she said, it was like nothing ever happened. Elvis did have a temper. It has been noted. We all have tempers. And there was times that he could have, and there was guys that said, well, he hired us one moment and fired us the next moment, and then hired us right back. So you have a great night, Joyful. I really appreciate it. I hope you'll come back for some of that Elvis content. And I would be glad to have you on and we could have a discussion about Elvis. I'd be glad to have you on this channel and do that. I think it would be a lot of fun. On stage and off stage, he is getting mobbed. Getting mobbed. Maybe you can get another person. On and off stage, he was getting mobbed. Maybe you can get another person. Maybe in your family, not Elvis or his family. Well, thank you, Nev. Well, I appreciate that. You know, again, I want to do it respectfully and dignified, right? And I also believe that, and I hope you have a great evening. And I'm going to be back on. I want to come back on Linen Homestead. I need to do that. You guys are so much fun. I really, really enjoy that. But go check out that channel. And I enjoy when you're on there because you bring so much fun to it. There's so much that we can learn. We can learn and glean from it. And do it in a way. Guys, there's been so much done about Elvis. It's been done in disrespect. Honestly, there has been. And there's a way to do it respectfully. And I hope people understand that. They don't take it to offense. I'm not trying to offend anybody. I blessings right back to you. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful Christmas. But I would love to have a talk about Elvis. I just think that we can do it respectfully, because I think that we need to look at the wonderful side of Elvis and the side that he struggled with, because here's the bottom line. We all struggle, don't we? His stage performance was always wonderful. And he'd go on stage and he had his jumpsuit on and he looked, and by the way, that's Elvis, our mascot, the snowman. He always looked great. He always had it together. He always sang wonderfully, right? He always did it to sold out crowds. And he got in the car. And what was his, well, you know, and his question was, after a fold out audience, did I do okay? Behind the gates of Graceland, what was he? He was happy. There was times he struggled. There was times he had difficulty. You know, you can't go through life without having that. Unfortunately, there were people in his severe that, I mean, let's get to the brass tacks if we really want to say it. There is nobody on earth that would have been prescribed the medication Elvis would have been prescribed if he had not been Elvis Presley. There is no way that any doctor would have prescribed it. Today, you could not do what was done back then. You couldn't do it, because everything, you know, the doctor can check the pharmacy thing and the link and make sure you're not doctor shopping and all that kind of stuff. But you couldn't do what you did back then. And this doctor and that doctor and all this kind of stuff. But it's sad what some of the doctors allowed back then. And Elvis is not the only casualty of that. There's other doctors, other superstars that were that really, I'm sorry, shame on them. You know, Judy Garland's one of them. They gave her medication that they should not have given, so she would do certain things. I mean, it was a different culture back then. So I don't want anybody to feel like I'm at all in shape or form being disrespectful to him. I don't want to. But unfortunately there have been too many famous and non-famous people who have passed overdeed from medication. Absolutely. And it has been shown recently that Elvis really didn't die from that. He died from a brain injury he had 10 years prior to that wasn't shown up correctly. And it was because of that. But he also had glaucoma and he had diabetes and he didn't eat, I appreciate that. He didn't eat correctly. But, at the end of the day, I can sit here with the utmost respect for Elvis Presley. Everybody said, why? When I was young and I found Elvis, I'd go to school and get teased and bullied all day. I'd come home to a dad that was angry. And I go in my room and I put on Elvis. And it was the one thing, I'm not saying that God didn't keep me going, but it was the one thing that I could kind of zone out to. And then when my dad had dementia, it was the one thing that I could play. I had my dad back for just a split second. If you don't think that I'm not going to do anything but give him the respect Elvis deserves, I am. But to put Elvis in a situation of he's perfect and untouchable, that's not what Elvis would want at all. That's not at all what Elvis would want. He would not want to be looked at and put on a pedestal because he would say, I've made mistakes. I'm no perfect person. The image is one thing, the human being's another. What are you struggling with today? Are you comfortable in your own skin? I'm still working on that. I'm in my 40s. It's a daily grind to say, okay, we're respectful. So we can still be respectful. We can still sit there and people may have different opinions within the chat, and that's perfectly fine. I have no problem with that. You are entitled and allowed to have your opinion. And at the end of the day, I still want to call you a friend. I don't want to lose a friend over an argument. It's not worth it. I may not agree with everything that was said. I don't have to. That person doesn't have to agree with everything that I say. But at the end of the day, we can still be friends. And if we're not, something's wrong. If we can't have disagreements and discussions about certain topics, then you know what? We're failing someplace. I'm sure Elvis saved you. Elvis isn't a casualty at all. There are other subjects. God is the only perfect one we know. I am here if you ever need to talk. I'm a good listener. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate your support and I appreciate your friendship. And I'm going to do my take on Elvis next year and different areas and different subjects. And everybody doesn't have to agree with me on different things. I will be respectful. I'm going to do it in a way that, guys, one of the reasons I did this, and God save me, Elvis was just there as somebody that I could go to and get and just kind of zone out for a while, right? One of these days, I'm going to be a grandma, God willing. And all of this stuff on this channel, I hope one day maybe my grandkids will listen to. Maybe my great grandkids will listen to, right? And I hope they can hear their yaya's passion for Elvis. And look at Elvis and all of the good Elvis did do. And I understand your point that, yeah, not a casualty, but I also do believe that there were people that provided him things that he would not provide if he was not Elvis Presley. We weren't there. We're not going to know everything, but it's worthy to have a discussion about. But there's been a lot of people on that channel defending Elvis. He does a great job. And I'm watching a lot of his content, watching how he's doing things. He's reading books about Anita Wood. I'm telling you what, I've listened recently to a lot of interviews that were done by another channel with some of the women Elvis surrounded himself. He surrounded himself with some very intelligent women. I mean, they were smart cookies. And, you know, he was an extremely, hi Jake, he was an extremely intelligent man. This person was, he had to, unbelievable. But there's a lot of things we can look at, but let's do it in a way that's respectful, right? And a way that shows Elvis in a good light. And I'm going to do my very best to do that. And you're not going to have to agree with everything that comes out of my mouth, but it's from my perspective. Everybody has a different perspective. If you listen to a lot of what some of the interviews are that Elvis's bodyguards do and people that surrounded him, you hear different versions of things because they had a different perspective on the situation. And so I'm going to say this is the perspective I'm getting from this. You don't have to agree with it. You never, guys, if you come in here and I'm saying something you don't agree with, you don't have to agree with it. This is what healthy discussions look like. And people still come in and they leave. And they can come in, they can leave, and we can still be friends. And I can say, I don't agree with it. And that's fine. You don't have to agree with me. Be awful boring if everybody agreed with themselves, didn't it? And that's really what I hope in the coming next year is my wish, I guess, for all humanity. Be awful nice if we can make that right. That we can start having discussions in a way that is never going to life would be boring. We can have discussions in a way that's just never going to be like, you know, okay, I don't agree with you, goodbye, so forth. We can have a discussion. We can, have a discussion, have it openly. I don't agree with this. I don't agree with this. Guess what? It's still at the end, your friend. It's a simple concept. It's really not that difficult, but I think we make it into more than what it needs to be. And I'm sure as I go down this path, I'm going to have people that aren't going to agree with me. They don't have to agree with me. But let's not put Elvis, and nor would he want to. And I'm going to tell you his little story. I didn't expect to get into Elvis, but we did. And it's fine. Like I said, the chat goes the direction right where we're going to be going. Elvis, and I've sunken down in the chair and I'm not going to fix it. The chair's gone down and I'm just going to stay where it is. Elvis, when you go to Tupelo, Mississippi, okay, hon, please take care of yourself. It was so good to see you. I miss you. I've been praying for you. Have a safe trip to work. When Elvis when Elvis was asked, when there was Tupelo, Mississippi, was done, okay? And Elvis was done at when they did the Tupelo, Mississippi, and they put his house. Now, if you go to his house in Tupelo, Mississippi, it's nothing much. He came from dirt poor guys. It's 2-bedroom little shack. It did not have a porch swing. They put that on, and it is his birth home. He was asked what kind of statue they wanted to put of Elvis there. And his response is, I don't want a statue. I want a chapel. That's why that chapel is built there. I want a chapel. So my fans, when they go to the birthplace, and he chose to do that, can have a place to worship. Elvis did not want to ever be put on a pedestal. He wanted to be Elvis. He often wondered why he was chosen to have the amazing gift of the voice he did have. He was an influential entertainer that we will never see ever again. He's not just the guy that was on stage in a jumpsuit with the voice and the good looks. There was so much more to him. And I hope that when I do it, I may mess up. I'm not perfect. Nobody is. I hope that when we go down the journey next year, that we can do it in a respectful manner. Lets people come in, share their opinions and views. Don't have to agree with me. If you don't like it, you don't have to participate. But I have a love and passion for Elvis. I have it for my crochet. It's one of the things that interests me. And his life, for whatever reason, has always interested me. And I hope that at the end of the time of however long it takes to get through certain things and aspects, I can sit there and say, I did that with respect. And I hope that he would feel that way. Because not only looking at everything, the one side and not the other, what you're doing, and that's kind of when we kind of do ourselves too as well. When we look at all the good things and we don't look at the things that are not the greatest that need improvement, and we're not looking at our whole selves, are we? Elvis is not here anymore. He is in heaven with God and he's perfect. But he made a substantial footprint on this earth when he was here for his 42 years. He gave out of the goodness of his heart. He wanted nothing other than friendship and respect and trust. And he just wanted to give the world happiness. All he wanted to do. Simple. He was simple. He was humble. And he put one pair of pants on at one time. One leg in and he put his pants on one leg at a time. But at the same time, he still had struggles. And I can't imagine he had a lot of fun, but to not be able to go, just to think about it, go into the grocery store without being mobbed. None of us know what that's like. Is somebody coming and trying to get to know me because of who I am or because I'm Elvis Presley? So I think it's worthy to have the discussion, because I think what I'm trying to get people to do when we do it is not only look at that, but look at yourself. Look at yourself. And I hope that I can accomplish that. I don't want to upset anybody. I don't. and I will do this. When we do those discussions, they will be separate from the connection part. We just happen, like I said, the chat will direct the thing and so forth, and it happened to just do it and so forth. And I kind of had Elvis on my mind a little bit today, so it just directed into it. But if we're going to do that kind of content, I really think that it would be best to do it separate and have separate lives from connection. Because I do not want to, this is another thing I don't want to do when we do it. I don't want to turn people away that have no interest in it. When we do it, it will be, the title will be listed, the thumbnail will be listed. People can come in that want to have the discussion as long as they're respectful to everybody and to Elvis. But we can have the discussion openly and honestly, but I don't want to do it separate from having connection and other topics. It will be a totally separate thing. I don't want to, and yet we still talk about Elvis, but to be able to get into the deep dive, kind of like we did tonight, I don't want that to affect the connection that's happening on the channel. And that's where I want to make sure that there's a very clear break to, okay, we're having a deep dive about this about Elvis or this about Elvis or that. I don't mind talking about it during a live because it's going to come up, especially when we thank our members and so forth. So we talk about the thank you very much membership. But when we're deep diving into certain things, that's going to be a totally separate live from that. And what I want to do with that too is once we discuss it for whatever time period we do, when we stop the live, we're not carrying it into the connection part of the when we do a live that's focusing on connection or another topic or what have you, I want to not bring them in, if that makes sense. I want to make sure that when we leave, when we have those deep dives about certain subjects and my perspective on it, I want to leave saying to everybody, okay, we may have discussed some things within that live. That kind of goes no matter what live we do. I may have discussed some things you may or may not agree within this live about. But at the end of the day, you're still a part of this community. We love you. We appreciate you. We're still friends. We're going to agree to disagree. Done deal. Because we can argue about it till you blue in the face, but you're not going to change my mind and I'm not going to change your mind if you're fixed on that opinion. But at the end of the day, we can still be friends. And probably one of the first lives I do when we're going to talk about Elvis, kind of glad we have this discussion tonight, is we're going to have a discussion on, okay, ground rules. More importantly is having discussions, having debates, coming in, talking about things that we agree or disagree about, and still walking away saying we're friends. I'm not held to the opinion that there's a chance that Elvis could have had bipolar. It is just one of the things that I'm kind of thinking it could have been a possibility that he could have had. It is also something that happens after a tragic situation, which was the death of his mother. And there's a possibility with some of the behaviors that he was exhibiting that there could have been a possibility for him to have had some issues in that area. I'm not saying that he had it, but there's a possibility of it if you look at the symptoms and the signs and then you look at what Elvis had or the way he lived. There's a possibility. If listen, I hope my mother's here for another 50 years. You got to see her on the Advent last night, but she's here for another 50 years. I truly expect when she leaves this world, if it is before me, I'm going to be depressed for quite a while after that happens. I can't imagine. Elvis and his mother were extremely close. I can't even imagine what he went through after the death of his mother. I can't even begin to imagine. If you don't think that he was suffering from depression after his mother passed away, of course he was. And he had to go right back and serve in the army. And that must have been extremely difficult, extremely hard for him to go through and process through all that. And those are all things that are worth of the discussion. Like I said, I'm not a doctor. I cannot diagnose anybody, and I'm not going to try. But there's a possibility. And back then, like my grandmother who passed away in the 90s, she wasn't properly diagnosed with it. She was on proper medication for it. She was trying to be comfortable in her own skin for years. And it was sad because she affected the lives of her children and her children's children because of it. And, we don't know. We weren't Elvis. We weren't there. But there are some things to look at, and we can look at it from a respectful manner. And I hope you all will please realize, and I hope throughout this live I've been nothing but respectful, because it's never my goal to not be respectful. It is my goal absolutely to be respectful to not only him, but to his family. I want to do nothing else but do that. And I hope that we can do that. And we can have a healthy discussion. And, we'll never know. The one thing that I can tell you is he's perfect now. Elvis is in heaven. He's perfect, and he's singing with the angels. All of what he went on earth here for is all water on the bridge, but there's things we can learn from it. If nothing else is learned from Elvis's life, is how to do better to give than receive. Boy, to me, that's priceless. I hope my grandkids one day will learn that. I hope this Christmas season we can really focus on it's better to give than to receive. We can find the joy in that. I remember every Christmas, and I didn't understand it until I was older. My grandfather would insist, and my grandmother would insist that Christmas happened in my home, a child's home. And so my grandmother, we'd have to go over and get my grandfather and my grandmother, because my grandmother didn't drive and my grandfather couldn't drive. And so by the time they came and we all had breakfast and everything, it was probably about noon before we started opening the gifts. All my friends would be outside, playing outside with their gifts, and I hadn't even unwrapped one. And we always took the time, even if it took 3 hours, to open the gifts, and I'd be the person that would hand a gift to somebody else. We still do that today. Hand the gift to somebody else, wait till they open it, let them enjoy it for a moment, and then go back and get another gift. And I didn't understand the true treasure that was until I was older. And I remember my cousin coming and having Christmas with us, and she was saying, "Oh, this is taking forever." And it's like, well, we just like watching everybody open their gift and enjoy their gift, because it is so much better to give than to receive. And so I look at that now with such an appreciation that I didn't get when I was a kid. I was just like, let's get to the gifts. But I go back with such special memories of giving everybody their gift and watching their face when they opened it. And I just hope, and I think that's what Elvis loved doing. He didn't want a gift. He wanted to give to others. He wanted to see their face. He wanted to just hear a simple thank you and let's move on. He enjoyed the act of giving. And this year, let's work to see where we can give to others than to receive. It is so many more blessings and such a different feeling when we do that. If we get something in return, wonderful. But if we can give, it is so much better. And I can tell you from having that, I look at the whole Christmas time and we still open gifts one by one and watch that. And I hope not only will that continue, and we did that just because of circumstance, but and we did that because it's the way our family did it. But I hope that Christina will do that with her children. That my grandchildren one day can be able to see, the gift of giving in that way and in that manner. So anyway, there's a lot. And we can do it respectfully, but we're going to do it. And then those times that we come together and talk about it, we're going to agree to disagree. We're going to leave it. We're going to leave the chat and then so forth with, saying everybody has their own opinion. Let's be friends. Let's move on. Come into the live and still connect. They're going to be separate. They have to be. We cannot. They have to be. And we can have different opinions, and that's fine. That's what this makes the world turn. It'd be very boring if we didn't have any. If we didn't have recipes sitting on my head, if we didn't have different discussions, it would be just. It would be so so boring. So I'm going to make sure, guys, believe me, when I do it, it'll be done respectfully. There's no other way to do it in my book. So if you have a cookie recipe, we're still looking for the cookie recipes. We've got them rolled out. And thank you all for joining me. Now, sometime this week, Josh is going to give some memberships out. So probably on Friday, maybe he said he may do some of that. On the 25th, we have 5 more memberships that the channel, that YouTube allows us to give out. So we'll be doing that. We'll be doing the video out for the for the bean recipe. And next week, I will be giving you all a gift, and that's going to be my sand art recipe for my brownies. I must love you all, right? Yes, you still need to send in the cookie recipe. I was going to get after you, sis. Listen, I totally get it. Like today, I said, I'm going to do nothing else. I've spent days. It was like I came back and I had a video to do. Oh, I'm going to sing. I'm going to be doing a singing video. Yes, I said singing. My daughter's not thrilled about it. But there's a song, and I'm going to be releasing 2 songs from Scott. One of them is just a fun song, but the other one is a really... the message behind it is what I want to get. And it is... so you're going to say that now till I start singing, Kristen, and then you're going to be like, be quiet. I thought about doing it today, but I was too tired. I needed to just have nothing but crochet and rest. And I was just too tired. I was just, but there's a song from Scott, which wouldn't be copyrighted because none of his stuff is copyrighted. So I don't have to worry about that. And so I don't have to unmonetize the video, which is fine if I did. But I really love the song, and I love the message behind the song. So I'm going to sing the song, and then I'm going to release the song without my voice in it, so you guys can hear it in its all glory, because I'm telling you, I can't sing I can't sing. But I'm going to do it anyway, because I want to show you all, do it. Don't be afraid, just do it. If you've got something to say, and you want to start a channel, just do it. And so I'm going to do it. And Gail Southern Living is doing a collaboration. So I'm going to do it for her collaboration. And I'm going to sing. I don't know if I'll ever sing again, but I'm going to sing. And I know everybody's going to sit there going, Great job. And I'll be like, okay. So I'm going to put that video together today or tomorrow. I'll put the bean recipe this weekend, and then you guys can, I will have all the stuff in. You can either download the PDFs from our merch store for easy access, or you can do it yourself. I will give you my sand art brownie recipe, and I will put that in the merch store for you guys to download. But that is my gift to you, because that recipe is, if you've never had brownies, so you've had the sand art brownie recipe. So I'm going to give that. And that is my gift to my community, is releasing that recipe. Yeah, but you haven't heard me sing yet, Kristen. My favorite part about listening to others sing is their enthusiasm and heart. That matters so much more than anything else. We told Christina the other day that I was going to sing, and she goes, "Oh no, Mom, please don't." So anyway, but it's a good song to remember this time of year. So I'm going to get it done tomorrow. I mean, it was a bad thing to sit there and say, but I just thought, we came back. I was tired after we came back. Then I had those 2 members only videos that had to be up just as a way for us to say thank you to y'all. So my mom and I had to do those. We had another collaboration I had to do with living your life, life in the Piedmont, which was an adorable snowman toilet paper idea. You sent another recipe, awesome. Plus, then I've had the cookie recipes to do. Then I've had the lives every day to do. Then I've had the Advent things to do. And I've just been like, and I thought, and then I had Christina's calendar to do. I've got the connection cakes I'm working on tonight and tomorrow. So then I can sit on Friday and get everybody's list of everything that they won, and the emails, and get them all organized so that they can go out either Saturday. I'm still waiting for something in the mail to do it with. Saturday or Monday, hopefully, get all of them out in the mail. So I was like, the calendar is done. And I'm going, phew. And I was like, I don't have to really do anything. I did, but I was like, I really don't, I can't. I'm just going to take it easy. And that's exactly what this body did. I took it to DC, as my grandfather would have said. So I'm going to go have dinner, and I'm going to go back to crocheting, and I'm going to go back to watching a movie, Christmas movie. And I'm going to just relax, and I'm hopefully going to go to bed before 3 o'clock in the morning. I am tired. I am. I've needed to do a couple of days. I hope you all, if you haven't checked out that paint pour that you all participated in yesterday with me, I think that was great. And again, next year, if anybody's interested in participating on a live with me doing paint pour, I would be glad to do it. If you wanted to get, we could all get the same supplies, and you guys could get different paint, but then you could show everybody, we could show everybody how different each one of them come out with. I'd be glad to do a paint pour project with some people online. If some people are interested to really learn, it is so simple. It is really fun. And we're going to actually start offering some of the smaller canvases, because they could get mailed easily, of us doing some paint pour and so forth. Nope, they have not. We've done. Christina uploaded peanut butter cookies because it was the one that my grandmother had written in her cookbook. And I remember Christina used to have unwrap the Hershey Kisses with my grandmother, sit and unload them. Of course, more went in her mouth than went in the cookies things. But nobody's done a gingerbread, so that would be awesome. Josh is uploading one tomorrow or Friday. He's got one on Friday. He has 3 he's actually submitted. So those have got to go up. 7th is on Saturday. My Other's Keeper is tomorrow. Who got today? Was it? No, who was today? Hold on a second. Let me see. because it's already been released. Was it the song? Was it the one I thought of? Wait, hold it. Let's see before I get off. Let's see. Oh, guys, I can't. I can. The reason I did this one, hold on a second. I can play this because it's not copyrighted. Hold on a second. I got to do it. The reason I did this recipe was because I thought I had to do a recipe for as a way of saying thank you to the lifeboat, because we would not be here without the lifeboat. You participate. That's awesome. I did a recipe for Tommy's favorite candy as a way of saying thank you. And we are also going to do a separate live because I want my crew to write letters for Q, and I will explain all that. If you're not a part of the lifeboat, go be a part of it. Awesome group of people. It's where I've met a lot of people that I call dear friends. But if you're not a part of it and you can write a letter for Q, if you're a part of this channel, you've been affected by the lifeboat. You've been affected by Tommy. You've been affected by the crew or by Q. So anybody that can will, but you'll see what I did. And I used Jake Hudson's song that he did for the lifeboat for this short. So I was able to lift up the lifeboat and thing, but that's the newest cookie recipe out there. Can you see it? Lifeboat candy corn sugar cookies. Had to do that one. Had to. So that is the recipe that's uploaded today, and I have to send it to Tommy. But it's the lifeboat sugar, the lifeboat candy corn sugar cookie recipe. Had to do it. Had to do it. So anyway, that's the recipe that got uploaded today. Was that I gotta send that to Spanx. But that's the one. If y'all haven't gotten to listen to that, I know it's not Halloween anymore, but we had to have that one. We had to have a candy corn recipe. You know that, right? You had to have that one. We had to have a candy corn recipe, you know. So the lifeboat candy corn sugar cookie recipe. So that was a little nod to the lifeboat. I thought we had to do that one. So I am going to just take an opportunity and thank our members. It is never expected. It is appreciated. Those do help support the channel. It helps us bring us extra content, and we are so grateful. So let's take a moment, and we get to see Elvis.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So we got to see Elvis for a moment. So thank you all those that are members of this channel. You've helped to allow us to do some extra things, and we very, very much appreciate it. I'm going to get going. We've got day 11. Where did the time go? I mean, honestly, where did it go? It's just like before we know it. But I'm going to go have my dinner. I'm going to finish this one connection cake. If I can get 2 done today, I would really like to do that. And then I'm going to go to bed before 3 o'clock in the morning. And Kristen, you may have gotten into Christina's calendar. Do you remember a picture on Facebook with you wearing a sketch hat? Yep. Just so you know, she's a big Sketch fan. Or Stitch. Excuse me, Stitch. But there was some birthdays. Because you and her have a really neat relationship. So I made sure that I put your birthday in there. Moan's got in there too. But I remembered hers because she's the same day as Christina's. But anyway, I thought I would tell you that. I put you made it in there. And I'm very grateful that I have several ladies that have surrounded Christina with a lot of love right now. And extra aunties are always good when you are losing one auntie and another auntie doesn't want to be very nice. So I thank you so much. Give my nephew a big hug. Hi, Alfonso. We're about ready to. Yes, I will. I've just been a little bit. I've been a little bit busy, but I will try very hard to connect. I've got a snapshot, and I will shortly after this. I'm going to record Advent Day 11, and then I'm going to go relax for the rest of the evening and go to bed again, hopefully before 3 o'clock in the morning. So I will talk to everybody later. Have a great day. And, remember, stay connected, everybody. You all are such an important part of this channel. We are so blessed to have each and every one of you. You're awesome disco balls. We love each and every one of you. Remember, stay connected. We've got you covered. Thank you so much for having us covered. And we've got a Scott Thompson cookie recipe coming out on Friday. Yeah. Is it Friday? No, Sunday or Monday. I'm going to get it straight. I got so many cookie recipes floating in my head. So remember, be proud of being yourself because everyone else is taken. Have a great night, everybody. And we will see you tomorrow for day 12 of Christmas Connection. I will talk to you all later. Have a good night and ta-ta for now. Bye-bye, everybody.
So proud of being